through the years, we've shared in cares. They too busy, they can't see we. Time to depend on we both. So then, just so we and them is friends. Stop it to say howdy do. Shaking hand with me and you. They will hug your granny, kiss your baby, while we dribble too. Doggy look a bone. Doggy look a bone.
Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Good afternoon, those of you who locked on work, if you're still on work. And if you leave work already and you jump in your vehicles and you're heading home, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to those of you in the maxis and taxis and buses and PH cars. Good afternoon to those of you locked on at home. And of course, I want to say good afternoon to those of you locked on the World Wide Web, those of you locked on YouTube via IWER TV, and those of you locked on Facebook via The Street 919 FM. Also, you know you can download the Street 919 FM app on your phone, and you can watch us on your phone, and you don't have to go up on YouTube or you don't have to go up on Facebook. You just can go up on the app and watch us any day, anytime. Once we are on, you can watch us on the Street 919 FM app. Go to the App Store, go to your Google Play Store, and download the Street 919 FM app, and you can see us live on the app. Okay, great. Welcome to the Future of Talk. I'm your host, Heavy Duty. My co-host TC is on his way. He should be here shortly, right? In the first hour, I'm going to open the lines and allow you to vent, and we're going to the venting hour this evening, right? The numbers to call 342-008-14665-391. Those are the numbers you can call. You could also call those numbers on WhatsApp, right? And you can send your voice notes on both numbers, right? You can send a voice note on both numbers. Those numbers again is 342-008-14665-391. I'd like to thank my comrade Dale for holding it down for the last couple hours, right? And those of you who are locked on and listen, we are back to the venting hour, and of course, you know, you can send your voice notes and you can call me via 342-0081 and 4665391. So I saw a clip on social media, and I'm going to play this afternoon. It's very interesting, but I'm going to play it in the 5 o'clock hour. Right? So in the 5 o'clock hour, I'm going to play my videos, and I'm going to play that clip. It's very interesting. Right? And I had a very interesting conversation before concerning price control and price gouging and all these things, and the cost of food and goods and services in this country is pretty high. And a lot of people are complaining. And it's all because of the high cost of living. People complaining now about the prices of everything because of the high cost of living, right? And the low standard of living. Our standard of living as Trinidad Trinbagonians have dropped, right? So we're no longer enjoying a high standard of living that you used to enjoy back in the 80s and 90s, whereby you could have gone to grocery, the supermarket, $300 and come out with about 2 big boxes of groceries, 2 carts full of groceries with $300, right? And it is sad that we can no longer do that, knowing that, you know, our country was had a very stable economy for the want of a better one of about 50 to 60, almost 50 years. Even though we had that little hiccup in 1986 and 1991, you know, whereby we had a economic disaster, where we had a recession and all these things. our economy was basically stable, for want of a better, about 50 years. So we had enjoyed a high standard of living, right, when it comes to goods and services and food. Now, because of corruption, misappropriation of public funds, nepotism, favoritism, and now because of incompetence and mismanagement, here we are today with a high cost of living, a very high cost of living, and a very low standard of living. And what I really cannot take, I really cannot understand. Well, I understand, right? But I don't know why we're not understanding that we are being manipulated to talk that way. We as a people keep blaming ourselves and not blaming who is responsible. I'm going to repeat that. We as a people keep blaming ourselves and not blaming who's responsible. And when I say ourselves, we blame we own people. We blame everybody else for everything that is going wrong in the country, but we don't blame who's responsible for fixing it, and who's responsible for having it that way. So in any conversation, when you talk about the problems that is facing our country, and you talk about it to any layman or any, let me just say that, any layman, right, the first thing they do is blame the people. First thing they do, blame the people. And we have been blaming the people for so long that the easiest thing to do is just blame the people. Till our government who's in charge, that all they do is blame the people. They don't ever take accountability for their actions. They want us to believe that it's the people to be blamed for the forex shortage because we buying too much, we using too much credit card online in online shopping. And the sycophants run with that. They want us to believe that it's the people responsible for all the crime in the country, because we don't go in the police station and tell them who's the killers and who's the bandits in our community. They want you to believe that it's the parents who causing all the criminal activity in the community, because the parents know the children are gone and they're not going in this police station and give up the children. They want us to believe that the gunman and them, right, who killing people and robbing people and how the country play out, that they are responsible because they getting the guns and going and doing the robberies and things. But they're not blaming the people who give them the gun. They're not blaming themselves for leaving the borders open. They're not blaming themselves for the lack of detection in the police service. You understand? We keep blaming the people, right? We will blame the doctors and the nurses in the hospital for not getting proper health care. We will blame WASA for the road when the road bad. But we're not blaming Rwandan and for not fixing the road after WASA they get up to fix the pipe. You understand? And this is the problem we have in Trinidad and Tobago. We will blame the students in the school, and will not blame the Ministry of Education. We'll even blame the teachers. I will not blame the Ministry of Education for not making a proper working environment for the teachers so and the students to feel comfortable going to school. We keep doing that. We keep blaming ourselves for everything. It's always the people the problem. We blame public servants when we go somewhere, right? And we're trying to get things done. We're going for ID card, we're going license officer. We blame everybody else but the people who is in charge and the people who have the system running like that. And that is what we do here in Trinidad and Tobago. And we need to stop. Because if we have a holistic point of view and we go back, if we go backward to the problem and we go backwards, you're going to realize the cause of the problem And we're going to realize the people who causing the problem is the people who have the solution, but not willing to put forward the solution, but instead choose to blame the people at the bottom. For everything that is going on in the country, blame the people, blame the people, blame the people. The people who are homeless and lie down under the bank and begging for money, you blame them for being there. And you don't know their circumstances. You don't know how they reach there, you don't know what's the problem. You don't even ask them a question. And that is what we do. And because you thinking individually and you don't think people-centered, you don't think holistically, you keep thinking of individually, because when I talk to you, you quickly draw testimony when I was young. You understand? My mother used to do this, and I come out, so and I had 3 brothers, and we never went and get no trouble. And I used to go to school, that's the first, and I walk 100 miles to go to school, and I still get my education, and I do this and I do that. You keep talking individually and giving testimonies about yourself. So you feel because you did that and you got through, you had a testimony and you succeeded, you believe everybody else in Trinity was supposed to succeed. Unknowing that everybody else's circumstances is different. Everybody come from different background, different household, different circumstances, different culture, different way how to grow up, everything. So your testimony and what you went through cannot be everybody else's own. Everybody's made differently, everybody can wire differently, everybody different in their own individual way. So when you speak, you have to speak holistically. You have to speak, or I can speak it in a man's shoe. And stop speaking about yourself. And when you think like that, then you're going to understand that not everybody could do what you did. But at the end of the day, we have a government, right? And the government have a job to do. And if they are not doing their job, we need to hold them accountable. And this is despite whichever government is in office. But you see, this particular government, we are allowing them to do us too much. And I don't know when we will say enough is enough. Too much. I've seen some voice notes, so let me play the voice notes before I go to the phone lines. So the lines are open. 342-0081-466-5391. Let me play the voice notes.
My event in this afternoon is all about that Shagaramas area down Macrip. On that Macrip beach, I call on the CDC, I think. Good afternoon, TC and Heavy. My event in this afternoon is all about that Shagaramas area down Macrip. On that Macrip beach, I call on the CDC, I think, and the government. The rails to go down to that beach, they are no good. They are rotten, completely rotten. The whole Macrip area woodwork are properly well rotten. Could you kindly fix these things for us, please? Even if you had to use CPEP workers, get some kind of material, because people who holding on to that rail and it's coming off in their hand, somebody will slip and hold and damage themselves going down on that beach. I was there Sunday, and I don't think you all fix it now. The whole railing from the top of Macrip Beach straight down to the bottom is properly well rotten. All the woodwork around the area there, it is properly well rotten. All you have to do is just change them for us and continue mismanaging and squandering the money as you do. Blessed afternoon to you all.
Caller, good afternoon.
Hey, Heavy, what you saying?
Yes, what's up, brother?
You see the video that you played with Switzerland yesterday?
Yeah.
Where the people, they're so comfortable, they're so happy that money that's falling in the road and they don't pick it up. I think you need to play that video like every day. Playing it every day would be vital and important. If you could make a space for that, I'll really appreciate that, to let people know that there are parts of the world where human being can be comfortable.
Correct. I will do that.
You need to play that. You need to play that every day. That is my personal suggestion. Another thing I want to say is this. I keep saying all the time, and this is my personal views, this is not the views of you or the radio station, that the Ministry of National Security is a fraudulent institution. The money that they are taking to spend in that direction, why they don't take the monies and spend it in these poor and
they need to take that money and spend it in Ministry of National Security and spend it in Ministry of Social Development.
Spread it across the board.
Correct.
Spread it across in the institutions, with the youth institutions, where to develop the youth. Spend it in the sporting facility. There are monies that they are taking and pumping in areas that are quite unnecessary. Because why? That the friends and the finances to pay, to benefit. Why a man should have to wait? People understand the level of crime. People understand that the effort that being put into committing a crime. You know, it is to stay up after 1, 2 in the morning to study, to plan, to take a vehicle, to go and put on a walk, to go here, to do this, to do that. You know how much energy that is take?
No, they want us to believe. They want us to believe that people want to do crime.
There are stages before a guy reach to that point.
Correct.
There are stages that
Correct.
there are stages he tried. There is an effort. He put so much effort into doing the good thing that he reached to a point where he says, "See me, I had to survive." When the survival mode kick in and the animal instinct kick into people, nobody doesn't care, you know.
Nope.
I go listen over.
Thank you, brother. Caller.
Good afternoon, Heavy.
Yes, brother. What's up?
Good afternoon, TC. Yeah, good afternoon, TC. Heavy is brother. Heavy and the treasury is supposed to belong to the nation, and this way where they trick me, brother. They make you feel that we are to go there and work to achieve our own money.
Yeah.
What they decided to give to the 1%, and then we are to achieve it back from them. That is a sinister idea, Heavy.
Yeah.
And education is not free in Trinidad. Every end you have to buy a children book.
Yep.
And you have to pay the passage to go to school.
Yep.
Send them to school. And the lunch. Uniform. In Ghana, Heavy, it's free education. Because the government buy the uniform, buy the books, give the traveling allowance. And medical, that is minding the children Heavy, that is free education.
Yeah.
Free education is not the parents buying the books and the uniform and paying the passage to go to school. And then medical, that is not free education. That is not it. If they had to pay for it, then not free education. And Heavy, the 1%, just how you were saying it yesterday, right? Just the state how he is, right? Just so they want to.
Caller?
Let's not even Heavy, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Heavy, when I'm calling these days, right? Because that's listening a lot now, that's listening. But Heavy, something make me call, boy. I listen to one of them morning programs in the morning. And one of the gurus, the PLM gurus, calling. I think that Mr. Chance or Mr. Yates. What about the two? I'm more feel Mr. Chance. That man calling Heavy and said, there's nothing wrong with what Dr. Roddy said about making it for China.
Wow.
Here's the justification.
Wow.
The more money they make, the more money the government tax. Correct me if I'm wrong. Most of the money them institution make, it is not from the governmental.
Yep.
So with that, we give them money and then tax them back with your own money. And that's why he justified it. It's not a problem that Dr. Roddy said. Let the rich get richer. Everything, I'm going to watch the top.
Wow. Wow.
Everything I hear people saying, there's nothing you can do to kind of price of food.
They're saying that?
Everything. But I would say, I'm on Korea and say there's nothing.
Nah. But Wow.
Every PNM did a serious serious?
They did a serious over
No,
on them.
Africa.
Yeah, they did a serious over on them.
Enjoy it, never see.
Yeah, brother, thanks. I want to apologize to Steve. I don't know what happened there. As that call coming and your call just dropped, I don't know why. And it's on two different phones, and I don't know how come that happened. But you can call me back, right? How can you say there's nothing to stop the high cost of food prices in this country? How can you say that there's nothing the government can do to stop the high cost of food prices in this country? It's not rocket science, people. It's not. It's not a triple bypass surgery, people. It's not. It's not curing cancer, people. It is as easy, and I'm not sure how easy it is. It is as easy as cutting down the importation of the food in this country, the foreign importation of food, and using that same money and creating more agriculture and farming. And when I say agriculture and farming, I don't necessarily mean just vegetables and fruits. I mean also poultry, meats, animal farming too, right? Another thing that the government can do, the government can reduce the cost of fuel, add back the subsidy to the fuel, and then put a cap on how much basic food items can cost, and reduce that cap. Okay? It means to say, if you drop back the price of diesel, not so much the gasoline, but the diesel that the trucks that the company use to transport the goods and services across the country, if you drop the price of the fuel, especially diesel, it will drastically reduce the cost of goods and services, and even some forms of transportation in vehicles that use diesel. Okay? Another thing the government can do is take off 15% VAT off of the most essential food items: rice, flour, sugar, certain meats, milk for babies especially. Cut down on these things. Take off VAT off of these things to reduce the cost of food, and put a cap on it. And then give incentives to businesses that reduce the cost of the food when they do their annual tax every year, and give them tax breaks for it. You see, the problem is we don't have, when you have a government who have an agenda, as I'll make him feel to play the video with Philip Alexander, because here what's going on. The people who distribute, the main people that distribute food in this country is the 1%. 90% of the food that is distributed to the supermarkets in this country is by a 1% business. Other supermarkets get distribution from local manufacturers. But there are a lot of things that come in foreign that we buy that only the 1% distributors distribute to supermarkets. Right? If we cut down on that importation, it will be affecting their business. If we cut down our food importation bit, it will be affecting their business. And the government do not want to affect their business. And that is why they won't interfere with that. This is why they, on one hand, they spend more money making sure they get the US to bring in their food to sell so they can make the profit. And on the other hand, they starve agriculture. So that agriculture now is pretty difficult to do in this country, where farmers are keep complaining about the high cost in feed, the high cost in fertilizer, the high cost in these things. It's very difficult, and now they know when they plant and they reap, they have to add back on that cost to the consumers, the wholesalers and retailers. But think about it. Who you think bringing in the feed and bringing in the fertilizer and all this thing? Think about it. You see, we are living in a country where our government only seeks the interests of a certain elite. And they more or less govern what we partake of at the bottom. So if the government really want to fix the food prices in this country, they could. But if they are seeking the interests of our 1% of the population, then the 99% had to suffer because they had to get rich. Think about it. Caller.
Yeah, Heavy.
Yes,
thank you very much. Yeah. Heavy, and this way the conversation had to be that the editorial, you know, give the without that, Heavy, we cannot free ourselves. 90% of the containers coming in this country is the 1% container.
Correct.
And if a poor man and who emptying the container, who packing it, who delivering them goods, what coming in them container is minimum wage. And if 90% of the container coming in Heavy, distributing to we people who is the potential buyers, we is the buyers.
Correct.
Why you not Heavy in 10 years, right? If they was trying to diversify, right? And you plant a couple of acres of rice, a couple of acres of corn, how much would I make? Instead of coconut tree, it's 5 years coconut tree in a state to be. If you plant a 50,000, we could have bottled that and send that out in foreign. All that diversity, creating employment. But they want not create them employment because that employment they're not going to the 1%. They want we to buy them minimum wage. That is it. They've seen me as slave. We must work, and if we cannot work by them, it cannot work. If you're not working by them, it cannot work. You understand? And we children had to get up in the morning, traveling 2 and 3 car Heavy to reach over, right? And then working for 160, check that money. Heavy. When I see in women, right, working security and have on that soldier boots and a uniform, and that's hurt me by leaving the children by.
Yeah, go down, bro. We gotta go for a break. We go for a break and we'll be right back. All right, you gotta go for a break, right? Keep it locked. I gotta go for a break. I can't take any more calls. We're going for the B-Mobile. We're going for the B-Mobile break right now. Keep it locked right here on the Street 919 FM. Right? We're coming back.
This is your Jingle Bell Jam on the Street 919 FM, sponsored in part by B-Mobile. Life